that e-commerce sales are going up. And so now is the time to ride that wave, jump on there and let your presence be known.
Profit First entrepreneurs and thought leaders. I am so excited today. We have a special guest. Her name is Andrea Thomas. Andrea is an author. She is a speaker, and she specializes in encouraging women within e-commerce to grow and scale their businesses to expand their own movement. Andrea is the owner of Andrea Thomas Collective, and she continues to run a company called Scratch Me Not and helps other online boutiques and store owners reach more customers, sell more products, and create multiple streams of income. She also runs a done-for-you Amazon agency, which helps sellers increase sales and gain more of their market share using tried and tested, often overlooked strategies. And some of these same strategies that she's going to talk about with us today has helped her clients break a 2-year downward cycle. One experienced a $436,000 month in sales in less than 60 days. So please welcome Andrea Thomas to our platform. Hi, Andrea. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, we're all excited because, the world has changed. The world has literally changed in the last 6 months, right? We used to be able to go to the store and now everything is online. Did you see that Amazon's stock is like over $3,000 for a share?
I did. Yes. I've been watching the stocks.
That is insane,
It
because
is.
Kodak is like barely $50 and Amazon is 3,000. I mean, you have to some people have to save their money to buy one share stock.
It's like mortgage or stock.
So I imagine business is booming for you right now.
It is growing. Yes, definitely. And that's a good thing because many people have been kind of slow to transitioning if they were doing brick and mortar to online. So it's just kind of forcing everyone to make a decision.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I signed our lease. We have a physical location and I signed my lease. I said, oh, it was a year ago. I can do another 3-year extension. And I'm like, man, everybody's remote now. I wish I didn't do that.
It all depends. If you have little ones at home, it's still nice to have a reprieve.
That's true. That's very, very true. So tell us about e-commerce and and what's going on in COVID-19 world 2020.
Oh my goodness. So pre-corona, we were getting ready, ramping up, just making projections for third quarter, fourth quarter especially, and just kind of riding the typical wave. Corona happened, everyone was forced to go online and sales spiked. So many people were like, well, we're having our best month ever and so on and so forth. And so now I'm actually tracking to see, okay, unemployment is going up. How's that affecting online sales? However, since we're unable to shop at leisure, we're still having to, make sure we wear our mask, not go as many places, still socially distance, it's still driving those online sales up. So trends are definitely saying, even overall, that e-commerce sales are going up. And so now is the time to ride that wave, jump on there and let your presence be known so you can get sales. But more importantly, I'm all about making sure that you serve your mission, your movement. And so we can't do that if your products are sitting on the shelves and you cannot go into a brick and mortar. So that's what part of the online wave is right now.
That is amazing. And I think it's here to stay too, right? I haven't even been in a grocery store. Our grocery store, literally, they deliver for like $7 and they leave it outside your door. So
and you're done.
I think I can work and grocery shop at the same time. It's really neat.
Yes, my kids even grocery shop online now. So they grocery shop for me. I double check the list, make sure they didn't slide any extra snacks in there. And then we are on to the races. So yes, I actually wonder if moms are like, perhaps this is like a good thing from Corona.
Oh, yeah. And I imagine you're seeing a lot of startups too, right? Like you said, as they're closing their brick and mortars, they're going online.
Yes. A lot of people are taking that hobby and turning it into an online business, but also diversifying their sales. And so that is one thing that I'm always trying to talk about is making sure that you're not stagnant. If you're focused on your online sales and you've grown them substantially, it's time to add another stream of sales. And so brick and mortar, especially if you were focused on just making sure you had inventory in store, now it's time to make sure that you're definitely online, but not only just online with a website, but maybe adding on Amazon, adding on Walmart.com, because they're trying to be the number 2, even push to get that number 1 spot that Amazon currently has.
So tell me about what are the challenges that you're seeing with people as they migrate online now? What are the challenges that you're seeing?
Yes. So it is, some of it is technical, how does this work? How do I connect this, that, and the other? But other parts of it,
that would be me.
Yes, so it's really the technical aspect, and then also the marketing, because it's a little bit different, because right now we don't have the trade shows, the market where a boutique will go to a trade show and see all the different vendors, select their order, and then go home and call it a day, and their products arrive to their store. Now they're having to go online and find those vendors and find those boutiques. And so part of that marketing is making sure you're getting your products, getting your store in front of the right people. So if you're B2B, which is business to business, how can I get in front of more boutiques, and how can I find my vendors? And if you're a vendor and you're selling B2B, which is business to business, or B2C, which is business to customer, then we want to make sure that we are driving traffic from both ways. So that marketing aspect sometimes gets people a little caught up, because they're wondering, okay, should I go in this Facebook group and I see everyone sharing their Instagram profile names? Should I go ahead and do that? Or should I, do a podcast, or should I do some kind of article? So they're really trying to figure out, spend the money and dive into ads, or DIY it.
So what are you finding? What is the best way?
Oh my goodness.
Get known?
What is the best way?
Tell us. We want to know.
So I always say, where are your people? Where's your audience? Where's your people? And so, of course, the fastest way to get in front of your audience is to invest the money into an agency, or to DIY courses to figure out ads, because that's going to help you buy your way in front of your ideal customer. But if you're like, hey, I have a lot of time, but I don't have a lot of dollars to spend, then we're going to get some elbow grease going, and we're going to say, okay, where are the people on social media? And begin to dive into that. Where are they? What are they reading now? What are some articles that you can be getting in front of, or doing some, like, what is your value? So when you're able to talk to people about their pain point, maybe you can write an article, maybe you can do some guest blogging, wherever your people are, even if you're going to connect with influencers, because remember, like, they already have your audience. And so you just need to get in front of them and tap into it. So just different partnerships are the ways that you can connect with others and put the social back into social media.
Right. I like that. So tell me about, how do you start a partnership? How do you to bring up sales with influencers? What does that look like?
Yes. Well, one, we're going to study. We're going to study them. We're going to not just going to pitch to everyone, everyone, but we're going to make sure that, one, that person or that entity has your buying audience, and make sure that they are engaged with them, because sometimes we get caught up on vanity. Like, for instance, if an Instagram follower has 100,000 people and they're like, yeah, pay me to market your product, or, interview you. But then you look at their comments, you look at their likes, and they have 2 likes and 1 comment, and it's just not adding up. That could be some vanity numbers that you may fall victim to. So we want to make sure that they are engaged, how their people are responding, and that your solution answers their problem. So your solution, of course, is your product. So we want to make sure that we're solving the problem that their audience has. And so when we do that, and we've done the research, now we start a conversation with the influencer. We're not going to go straight for the pitch, straight for the kill. We're going to treat them like a person, get to know them, see if it's going to be a good fit. And then when you feel like it is, shoot your shot and go ahead and begin to see what that collaboration looks like, whether it's a paid, whether it's free, whether it's a series. It doesn't have to be a one-time hit and run. It could be a variety of opportunities where they're posting for you, interviews, and things of that nature. So that's just one of the ways you can connect with influencers, and you don't have to do one influencer at a time. You could have a whole team of influencers marketing your product at the same time. So I think back to Rihanna when she was launching her makeup line, and she had several beauty influencers talking about her product at the same time, because she wanted to make sure that she got a lot of people to know that her product was dropping on a certain date, how the product worked, and so on, so that when the doors opened for her product online and in stores, she had already had a buying audience waiting for those doors to open. So that's the kind of excitement that we want to have. That's the kind of preparation we want to put in now to get that done.
I love it. That is really neat. That's a totally different spin on like online marketing. Thanks for sharing that. That's very unique. I would have never thought of ever doing that, right?
Yes, it's such a fun way too, because all of us are trying to get in front of the right people, and we can always drive people directly to us with ads, but that art of networking and collaborations just helps us get there so much faster.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. And especially, I guess, with things being different now, it's even more important that you focus online, right? That you focus on your influence online, because 6 months ago, it didn't matter. You could give out samples at,
Right?
at the store, but you can't do that anymore.
Yes. And then too, it builds credibility faster. Like, it's one thing for me to say my product is amazing and awesome, but I'm supposed to say it. I'm the owner. But when you have an influencer vouch for you that people know, like, and trust already, it's that much easier to make that transaction happen.
Wow. So you guys got that, listeners. Align, right? Align with people that are serving your mission. Now, one thing that I saw that really resonates with me is you're not just helping women build these online businesses, you're helping them really expand their mission, right? And it's interesting because, in a service-based business, I can definitely think of mission, but like in a product-based business, this is new to me. Tell me about this mission thing. I think that's
Yes.
phenomenal.
Yes. Okay. So it doesn't really matter what we're selling, but I always ask people that I work with, like, okay, are you interested in money or are you interested in mission? Because once I know what's truly driving you, I can tap into that. But I know for sure that I align with people who are wanting to make change in the world. And so that could be confidence, so whatever you're selling, whether it's a cell phone case, whether it's selling a pair of glasses, whether it's selling something that solves a true health issue, we're selling an emotion and we're selling an end result. And so when we tap into that, it doesn't really matter what you're selling. We're able to expand on, build upon whatever movement or mission we have. And so when we do this, it gives us that drive to want to move forward and push forward when these hurdles within business arise. So sometimes when the monetary is the primary goal, and if the numbers aren't hitting it, then you're like, okay, well, time to shut this down and keep it moving to the next thing. But when you have a true mission, you can work through those different hurdles to solve a solution. So I always talk to myself when I'm having these issues and I say, okay, I don't want to say can't because that shuts my brain off. So the question is how? How can I get this done? How can I move through this challenge? And all of a sudden your brain cells tend to open up and the creative juices start to flow. And so that's what I want to see when it comes to people selling anything, but especially physical products. So when I started Scratch Me Not, I started with a physical product to help my daughter. She was scratching with eczema and I needed a solution to, one, give me sanity and give her peace. And then two, I knew that if this helped her, there were other people going through it that needed a solution. So that's how that brand got started. And so that's what I want people to experience, that joy when someone purchases their product. It's a joy beyond the dollars in the bank. It's, I solved the problem today. And that's one more person that can sleep, that can smile, that can do whatever because they met their goal.
Oh, I love that because you're right. At some point, every business will hit a spot in the road where it's just not easy, right? Whether
Yes.
it be COVID-19, whether it be a pivot in the industry, everyone is going to reach that point. But you're right. When you have a mission, when it's important to you, that's deeper than the sales, that is the incentive that you need to keep going, right? When things are hard.
Yes, 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 yes. And that's I truly feel like sometimes that's one of the reasons why businesses shut down so quickly before the 5-year mark. And that's because one, either you have so much heart that you really had a hobby, or two, you were just so money oriented that you just couldn't figure out how to make things function. But I know for a product-based business, cash flow is king because we're actually buying inventory. And so that's one thing, profitability wise, we want to make sure we have that built into place.
So that's one thing that I see in e-commerce, right? Especially when you're in retail or you're selling something as, these e-commerce people, they go out and they buy, right? They catch the Black Friday specials and they sell it next spring. They collect this inventory. They have to get things made in bulk and brought back over here.
Mm-hmm.
How do you ensure profitability in an e-commerce business? What can we do to make sure that every sale is a profitable sale?
Okay, so that's such a loaded question.
I know. I'm
It's
sorry.
not as simple black and white, but when we start with the end in mind. So we know we want a profitable business. And so I speak mostly to those who are doing manufacturing or private label where they're able to get their price at a good factory level. And so when you're making a product from scratch or you're purchasing it in bulk, we want to make sure that we are doing a 5X number. So if I buy it for $1, I need to be able to sell it for $5. So 5X minimum is what we want to see when it comes to, is this a good product to sell? I've seen brands do it for 3, I've seen brands do it for 4X. And the problem is when it's time to scale the brand, you don't have enough cash flow to purchase the next level of inventory. And so when you have that 5X factor, we're able to put enough money aside for profit and still have enough money for expenses to keep expanding the brand. So the first thing is making sure that we have our numbers set up right in the beginning. And of course, 5X is minimum. So if you can find a 10X product, if you can find more, by all means, don't stop at 5. But that would be the first step. And then 2, alongside of making sure that your numbers are good in the beginning, we want to make sure that we know, how we can get those numbers down even more. So negotiating with your factory, if I order X amount, how much lower can my price be? Sometimes you're able to negotiate and sometimes you aren't, but we want to at least try to put these systems in place. And sometimes they already have a flat rate where if you purchase X, you'll be able to get this number and so on and so forth. And after that, we want to just make sure that we're keeping an eye on trends. So if you have a product that has multiple sizes and colors, okay, what are the hottest sizes? What are the best selling sizes? And we want to purchase, of course, more of those. And the lowest, the smallest sizes that aren't selling, or the sizes that aren't selling the least, they're selling the least. There we go. All my words jumbled up. But those that are selling the least, we have to make a decision. Are they sitting on the shelf too long? And if so, let's clearance them out so they're not eating up our expenses, eating up our profit. They are adding to our expenses. And then do we want to repurchase those and begin to make some hard decisions? I had to do that with Scratch Me Not, which was, I want to supply a product for everyone, but the teenies or the larges, they aren't selling as quickly. And so while I want to help those sizes or those children to keep my business afloat, I have to make some decisions. And so that's where we have to figure out, okay, I have a lot of heart, but I got to stay in business. And then alongside of that, I think as well as having an inventory app or tracking system that lets you know. And inside of Amazon, they let you know, okay, hey, this is the best selling product right now. Bring this much more. This is not selling too well. It's basically eating up your profit. So let's get rid of that.
I love that. So constantly assess and reassess your inventory, right?
Yes.
Make sure that it's moving along. Don't just order out of habit, but really take that deep dive, and what we call that razor cut, that surgical cut, to see what is actually selling, what's not selling, what do we want to hone in on, focus on, and grow that. And I love that metric that you gave, that 5X of cost, right?
Yes.
Making sure that your cost of goods sold is giving you a return of 5X in order to know that that's a profitable sale, right? So don't just go out and buy things because it's on the clearance rack. Make sure that you can actually sell it for 5 times its cost. So those guys are some juicy morsels and gifts from Andrea. So thank you, Andrea, for giving this as juicy gifts to make sure that we are running profitable businesses, right? So Andrea, what happens when things are just not going well? What are you seeing when that's not going well, and what can we do to shift those things?
Yes. Okay. So, and I'll speak from like a startup, and I'll speak from a established brand. So for startups, I have this great product and I have no audience to sell it to. And so we spend a lot of time curating a product, finding the product. That's the fun part, right? Like finding what to sell, how to put my branding on it, what colors do I want? And then when it's ready to sell, I have no system in place to have a system of having customers come through, visitors come through, always looking at my product. And so it's the marketing side typically that I see is like, okay, well, you have this great product, but you have 4 people come to your website a day. So the probability of you hitting these numbers is not good. So let's figure out how we can get more traffic, get your product in front of more people. And so on the established side, there's a lot of data that we can use. So we can say, okay, these are your average sales. We have some information to go off on. So as mentioned, I had a client who had 2 years of declining sales, and they couldn't figure out what was going on, and it was on Amazon. And so we had to go in there and just kind of peel back the layers of what's happening. And when we're able to do that, we say, okay, there's some things, they have a lot of products. And so some of their best selling products they were discontinuing or running out of, as well as their PPC, pay per click advertising wasn't stacked well. And so we're missing opportunities to get those products found when people are typing in those keywords and those phrases on Amazon. And so there's also some optimization opportunities as well. And so for on your website side, that could be SEO to make sure that you're findable on the internet as well. So there was just a few layers, missing pieces of the puzzle that we were able to unlock their next level of sales and increase those sales. And of course, understanding the trends, like, so for instance, maybe your best-selling quarter is the fourth quarter, but some people's isn't. So if that's not your best-selling quarter, like, you have to understand your industry, understanding what to expect so that you're able to navigate accordingly.
Definitely. That's some really good juicy morsels too. And so guys, if your product is not selling, it might not be because you've got a bad product. It might be that you just need to rehash your strategy, right?
Yes.
Like Andrea was saying, go behind the scenes, look at that SEO, look at your pay-per-clicks and see what's going on. Maybe you have the right people. It's just not getting in front of them, and we got to make that shift happen. You bring up a really good point though. And this is something that I see in retail, whether it's online or not, right? And that is, sometimes, especially in retail, we've got these, like you said, seasonal businesses, right? Where sales are going to boom right after Thanksgiving and through the end of the year. And then it's going to be silent after that.
Yes.
Or not necessarily silent, but maybe less active, right? Less active.
Yes.
Less active. So how do you deal with managing inventory for those slow seasons and fast seasons? What advice do you have for our viewers and listeners on that?
Yes. So of course, okay. So knowing the seasons, a slow season is coming. So when that slow season is getting closer and you still have mounds of inventory, you have two options. You can sit on it and just watch it eat away at your profit, or you can liquidate, sell it, or find ways that you can bulk move it. And so that may mean that you need to shift your product selling model. Maybe you're used to going B2C and now it's time to go B2B, where you're looking for other stores that are wanting this product in bulk. And so you're able to move it that much faster. It's really a matter of how creative you want to be, as well as your team. So if you have a sales history, you're able to say, okay, well, last year we sold this much, we're projecting this much. Now we can make a educated decision. And sometimes, you find a product that is hot when it's hot. And so we have to make some decisions real time. Okay, do I order more? Let me test it out. And so I like to be a little bit more practical when it comes to those hot products. Of course, we want to go hard. We want to hit the 50, the 100,000 in a month. But at the same time, we have to think, in the event that it just doesn't sell, what is my plan? And so you have to have an exit strategy. And that's going to be the key to keeping your brand afloat. And then also, as mentioned earlier, diversifying, so that if you know a slow season is coming, what are you going to do to bring in sales? Because sometimes when people have really hot seasons of selling, they also have really high expenses. And so we want to make sure that those expenses are able to be taken care of during your slow seasons as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's really neat. And you say something that's really, I think it's really important for our viewers to understand this. You say that it's an opportunity cost, right? And I want to dig in this a little bit deeper. When you allow your inventory to just sit, and even if you're thinking, I'm going to sell this next year, I didn't sell it this year, that it weighs on your profitability. And I want to really dive in that, why it's not a good idea to let inventory just set. We can both hone on this, but yeah, I'm going to let you go first on that one.
It's just one phrase: tax season.
Yeah, property taxes. I know we get that here.
Yes. When tax season comes, they want to know how much inventory do you have on hand. And so that's considered an asset. And so we want to get our assets as low as possible so that we can have the most profitable year ever. And so that inventory, if you just let it sit month after month, and I'm going to get to it one day, it weighs against you in that way. So that's one of the things that I kind of harp in on for my clients. Is like, hey, okay, I know I love what you do. I love your products, but we got to get this off the shelf.
No, that's really, really good. Right. Exactly. And also opportunity cost too, right? So if you've got something on your shelves that's not moving, it's an asset, but it's not helping you. And next year it might not be the hot item, or if you're done with food, it's going to spoil, or ointments, it's going to spoil. And so you want to move that to get the cash flow back in, right? So that you can order better, more moving inventory, right? That's going to keep your business in cycle and free you up for next year, right? Next year sales that happen. But I love taxes too. Let's get rid of that. Everybody, for those of you guys who are not in online retail, go shopping before the end of the year.
Yes. And that's such a good point, is that we want to make sure that you also figure out why it's not selling, so we don't repeat the same mistake. So sometimes I know that I love certain things, and so I purchase it to sell, but that doesn't mean that my audience loves those things. So asking questions, getting feedback, that helps us make better buying decisions in the future.
I love that. And Andrea, as we wrap up today, and you've shared so many juicy morsels, one thing that I want to ask you is, if you could leave our viewers and our listeners with one piece of advice, one piece of advice that they can take with them, that they can really change their businesses and change their direction, what would that advice be?
Okay, so this is my power trifecta. Whenever it comes to selling products, we have our products that we want to really understand. We also have our community, and then we also have our platforms. And so we've already talked about products a whole lot. We've kind of dove into selling on people's platforms, but our community. And this is kind of like the life of our business, because we want to turn those visitors into customers, into repeat customers, and of course into raving fans, because they tell the world about our customers. And so when we focus on those three areas, the product, the community, and your platform, you're able to have constant streams of sales. You're always thinking about how I can promote and market my products. And of course, you have the profitability of your product in mind. So definitely focus on those three areas.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrea. And you're right. Just constantly reassess your business. That's really good. And I love how you really focus on the analytics. Those are, and as accountants, we love analytics anyway, but just constantly focus on digging deeper and figuring out the why, right? Because it's
Yeah.
all intermingled. Now, if our viewers and our listeners want to reach you, Andrea, what is the best way that they can reach you now that they've heard your juicy morsels of wisdom?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at Andrea Thomas Collective. Of course, my website is andreathomascollective.com. There you can connect with me, reach out to me. And then also I have a product workshop I do monthly. So that is andreathomascollective.com/product workshop. So between those three areas, you'll be able to connect with me in some form or fashion.
That is awesome. So Instagram, Andrea Thomas Collective, or on the web at andreathomascollective.com, and then check out her workshop too, so you can get even more juicy morsels of information of how to run successful online businesses, because that is the way businesses, even accounting firms, are going to be online from now on the rest of 2020. So definitely check out Andrea at andreathomascollective.com to learn more about how to run successful retail businesses. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom with us. I feel like it's been a real gift having you on our show.
Thank you for having me. I've truly enjoyed it, and I hope this was helpful to others out there thinking about e-commerce, and of course, those who are already selling.
Thank you. I think we all are having to think about it now. We're
Yes,
not.
yes, yes, yes.
All right. Thank you, Andrea.